Here in Take Shelter, we follow the story of a man who begins to have visions of impending storm and apocalypse, and he has to decide whether to take action to protect his family or come to terms with the fact that he may have a mental illness. Hi, welcome back to my channel and my review of Take Shelter from 2011. I'm so glad I finally got around to watching this. This has been one that has come up as a recommendation for me by friends over the years a number of times now. I've always thought it had a very fascinating premise. I was interested to see it, and I'm so glad I finally got around to watching this because this is an incredibly well-made film. I just think, again, it's such an interesting story, and it deals with a number of very complex issues in a very in-depth and engaging way and tells a great story. So really excited to talk about this one because it's a truly brilliant film. One of the things that just got me so engaged with this story was the performance by Michael Shannon. It is unbelievably good. I think he is a true masterclass in acting. He's someone that I can't think of another actor that can bring a character with the qualities that this one has to life like he can. So when you're talking about characters that are going through unease and awkwardness and troubled relationships, things like this, where he delivers things in a very, very subtle and natural way. But even just from very small facial expressions, small movements, few words, he delivers and tells us all as the audience so much. And this, because this really is a very character-focused drama, it's about, how this series of events that happen here really affect this family, and you're watching it all from the perspective of Michael Shannon's character. And, when it comes down to, even though he has an awkwardness about him, and sometimes even a bit of a brashness, which brings him into conflict with his wife and his family, you really do feel for this character as well, for what he's going through. And as I say, Michael Shannon's performance of this is really what makes you so engaged and sympathise with this character. I really do like how this story dealt with the themes of mental illness as well, especially with schizophrenia. I always remember a few years ago I read a blog about people who diagnosed themselves with schizophrenia, and they were telling stories about how they first started to realise, and this is in adult life as well, kind of like this character, where in adult life they started to notice things that were slightly off, where they may be hearing voices or seeing hallucinations, and they just had enough awareness there to where they could tell that something was not quite lining up with the reality that they understand. And there was something quite disturbing about these stories. I feel terrible for anybody that has to go through such an illness, and I feel like the way those people describe those stories is basically brought visually to exactly how I would imagine that to be. Like the stories of the experiences people had are shown on a visual level in this movie through these storms, and the way the birds are acting, and all of the noises, the weird actions of people, and those things are kind of shown here in a visual way. And I felt like it really did an amazing job of kind of visualizing what it may be like to go through such an illness. And there is just something really unsettling about the way that's done here, because I'm not actually sure I'd really call this a horror film. It is a drama really, but there's definitely some quite unsettling and disturbing moments throughout this, and a lot of them are during these vision scenes, particularly some where Michael Shannon's character starts to have these nightmares, as well as seeing things in the day, where in the day he could be seeing these storms and he hears loud banging and stuff like this, and then in the night he has these very strange dreams where his young daughter and his wife are acting very strangely, and suddenly things start to escalate and get very strange. And again, as I said, the way it related to these stories that I've read, it does send a bit of a shiver, just where you can tell this character's going through something normal, and then something happens to where you can just tell that something's a little bit off, and it does give you that really sort of uncomfortable feeling. And on top of that as well, just the effects on the storms, to me, looked incredibly real. I actually wondered, because I saw this was quite a low budget film, and I did wonder before when it talked about these visions of the apocalypse and whatnot, I was kind of thinking they weren't going to actually show that, where it was going to be more told through the story rather than actually visualising it, because again, you've seen films where they try and do CGI storms and it just looks absolutely terrible and takes you out of the film. And because this is very serious, I was worried that it was going to take me out of it in a way, but not at all. The effects work on the storms here for such a low budget here are absolutely incredible. When you see all these tornadoes forming and these forks of lightning, and when you see it contrast where he's looking out to it, but in the scene that he's in with other people, it's daylight. It looks really amazing. So the special effects in this movie are genuinely really impressive. I liked as well the way the film focused on the strain of the relationship and the marriage that such a situation would have. And again, it's because this is a complex film with well fleshed out characters, there isn't really people that you dislike at all in this film. You kind of feel sympathy for every character here, where it's just a bad situation where you have this character that's having these visions. He might be dealing with mental illness. He's genuinely just trying to do the best thing for his family because he doesn't know what to do. It's such a confusing situation. He's seeing a psychiatrist, and he knows that the way he's acting is a little bit odd, but he just can't shake the feeling that that's what he should be doing. And because of his lack of communication skills, he's not really able to relay this to his wife, played by Jessica Chastain, also amazingly. And I feel like I like that you don't ever feel against her as a character. Because, sometimes I feel like with movies, if a character's going through something pretty crazy where they're experiencing something supernatural or something like that, it has it where you feel like the other characters are kind of unreasonable and ignorant and just, won't see the wood through the trees sort of thing. But when you really think about it in real life, like if somebody came to you and said they started seeing ghosts haunting them, your first thought would be like, are you sure? Are we gonna, are we gonna change the way we live our lives because somebody says they've seen a ghost? Like, probably not. So I do like here how it's portrayed that, she's genuinely trying to be supportive of this character, but at the same time she's thinking that he's developing this genetic mental disorder like his mother had and developed at the same age as well. So I like that it's a story where it's not getting you to side with a character. It's well fleshed out, well told characters that's showing you all of their perspectives just going through this really nightmarish situation. I do just think it's a film as well that if it was released again now, I think more people would watch it. I did see it had quite a small box office, this film. It obviously didn't do that well financially. But I feel like now if this was released, it would do a lot better because I do feel like it taps more into those themes about the fear and paranoia a lot of people do have about, if the environment's going to shit, is the earth actually going to be inhabitable in whatever amount of years' time? When you get more and more reports of storms, changes in temperatures, all these kind of things. What will the world look like in 500 years or whatever? Will it be inhabitable? Will we all have died out? Who knows? So I think the things that it's talking about in this film kind of will tap into that fear a little bit more. So I think that this film would get more people talking now if it had come out in 2023 as opposed to when it did come out, I think. I would say this definitely isn't the sort of film you're going to want to throw on as a quick watch. It's very, very slow build. It's all about these characters. It's not that much dialogue. It's all about the immersion in this story and really investing yourself in these characters. And yeah, like I said, it's a slow build movie. You have to pick the right mood and the time to watch it. But if you do, this is highly recommended. This is quite an incredible film, to be honest. I'm kind of annoyed at myself for sitting on this one for so long because it's an amazing film and quite unique. And again, it's just got a very interesting premise, and Michael Shannon it will blow you away with his performance here because, yeah, it's an incredibly complex character story and drama and a very engaging 2-hour movie. So for anybody that hasn't seen this, highly, highly recommended. I'm going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5, but I can genuinely see myself moving this up to a 5 on rewatches. As I've said, I don't always like to give a film a 5 on a first watch, because you know things can change up and down when you see it again, but yeah, almost a perfect movie. I can't really honestly say there's anything wrong with it or anything I didn't like about it. It's an incredible film. So please do let me know in the comments what you think of Take Shelter if you've seen it. Thanks a lot for watching this review, and I'll see you next time.